Today marks 1485th day share lessons to learn and continue to learn with you. I hope these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help achieve your goals, really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about what everyone needs to know about getting hurt. Small injuries. For example, I snapped my fingers today, like just told a stupid injury. But I thought about what could we learn from even from small injuries? What every single person must know about it. And today I'll share a couple of things, probably 7 or 8 things, what we can learn from even their small mistakes. Number one is pain is information, not punishment. Because sometimes when you really make mistakes, when you really get injured, well, sometimes you need to like slow down, pay attention, because something needs care. And I think that it's very, very important to understand that a lot of times our bodies are communicating things with us. And if people are not listening, of course, that could lead to bigger and bigger and bigger mistakes. Maybe you forgot something and that led to something else and then something else. And then being able to really catch ourselves when you have some kind of pain, we're able to understand that is information. And again, if that's pain is information, that means that it's telling something. And we need to really gather information and that gathered knowledge and turn it into wisdom. Turn it into wisdom, into reflection about ourselves. And based on that wisdom, we're supposed to adjust our actions. That's where true wisdom lies. Because you can have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, but if you don't change anything about how you take your actions, of course that doesn't lead anywhere. Number two, small injuries reveal big truths. That means that if you are injured, maybe you are overwhelmed, maybe you are just moving too fast, maybe you're not considering, maybe you are too in your mind. That means it might be that there is some kind of emotional or mental overload, and that's why you start making mistakes. And I think that's again, small injuries could reveal big truth. And then when look into again, this is information. And I think that those is very, very aligned. Is that small injuries reveal big truths. And again, that's how this big small key opens big massive doors, and that small injury could really reveal things and open the doors to really wisdom and understanding about yourself, about your mental capacity, emotional capacity, and just to understand like what kind of things you need to change just to make sure that those small injuries doesn't happen again. Number three is your body keeps the score, and of course keep the wisdom. I think that's every single time when you have an injury, because it could potentially lead the boundaries. Really understand it, because if you have a more small injury, maybe you were acting in the way that potentially is dangerous for you. So of course it's not helping you. So now have a small injury, sometimes saving you from having big injury. Because if you keep repeating that dangerous, not calculated actions, that could potentially lead to disappointment. So rather than having a small disappointment, rather big disappointment. So your body keeps the score is that remembers that you made mistake and he doesn't want you to really have exactly the same thing. So sometimes having a smaller injury is much better, because otherwise it potentially could lead to a big injury. Number four is you don't get extra points for toughing it out. Ignoring pain is not resilience; it's a self-abandonment, and that's a beautiful thing. I think it's sometimes strength is not retreating when needed, but really taking care of yourself. Sometimes even really asking for help, because asking for help is not seems wrong, and I think it's a beautiful thing when you're able to really before something happens, be able to ask for help and really take it easy. And sometimes when something happens, when you have injury, being able to have strong enough, be vulnerable enough, humble enough to be able to ask for help. I think that's a beautiful thing. Number five is that rest is a form of responsibility, not laziness. And this again, didn't came from me easily. I am a person who loves going, loves working, loves doing things, and even though I always knew, I used to believe that it's like most people live have to be. That means when I have enough money, I will be able to do the things that I want and I'll be happy. But we're supposed to move from that to total different directions. From this is who I want to be, and based on that, this is what we'll do, and I will have everything what I need. But at the same time, Sometimes I think that we focus more on doing, we forget about having, we forget about being, we just do and do and do. And I think at that moment, rather than l- do all the time, being able to reflect, being able to retreat for a second, and that's a, even retreat sounds bad, but the retreat to the ground level simply is very important because you taking responsibility of yourself, of your physical health, emotional health, mental health, all the helps that is very, very important to really move towards the better tomorrow, because healing is not passive, is active and reflective, and building awareness and gentleness to yourself is extremely important. Number six is your well-being is a long game. Your well-being is a long game. And I think that one injury doesn't define you, but how you respond to it does. And of course, if you have a one mistake and you keep repeating the same mistake, maybe there's some time to really reflect, because when you are a type of person who really loves doing, at some point we can realize that we keep repeating the same mistakes because we do not reflect enough. And I think at some point we need to, if we want to really play a long game, we need to reflect. Short-term game is all about immediate. I want to take action and I want to see immediate results. But when you play a long game, you start to see that, okay, like today I will do something and it might not see results, but I know that what I'm doing is right. And that's the most important part. What I'm doing is right. It doesn't matter if I get immediate results or not. Because to be honest, the majority of things that are truly matter in our lives is delayed. So you do right now something that will bring results in the future, bring fruits in the future. And of course, sometimes we need to really take care of ourselves, yeah, our own emotional and our own bodies. Number seven, and the last thing, is that if something feels seriously wrong, honor that feeling. I think it's one thing is that we make mistakes when we do not feel sometimes aligned in the place, and I think that's very, very important to understand that when you are aligned, most likely you are much more present. What happens with mistakes? Most mistakes is that you're not fully present. When you're fully present, mistakes are very, very rare, if it ever happens. But when you are not present and your mind is elsewhere, but your body is taking action that is in the present, but your mind is elsewhere, at that moment that leads to small mistakes and potentially leads to small injuries. So that means that I think that we need to understand that it might show that again, this is something is wrong. And we need to honor that feeling and then be able to reflect, okay, what do we need to change right now? Just make sure that I'm able to be more present, remove all the things that is doesn't serve me, remove the things that is wrong and at that moment. And I think it's interesting because sometimes when we are not living the present moment, we are not able to see how wrong things are. But when you bring yourself back and you see how something is way off, and when you bring yourself in the present moment, you're able to really ask the right questions to understand what you're able to change now to able to be much better. So I hope you reflect as well. Small injuries. What really small injuries have taught you? Because I think that one of the most beautiful thing about personal growth that you're able to learn from every single thing. So I hope you just win and see you tomorrow.